Hey guys, welcome back to the Disney Pixar Connection. I'm your host Alex. Today we are covering Captain America the Winter Soldier. And in this film, we are covering really the backstory of the Winter Soldier, aka played by Sebastian Stan, otherwise known as Bucky Barnes. Um, so this is the backstory on how he gets his powers. I don't know if power is the right word, but his training, his moves, his serum situation, and how he's kind of like saved by Steve Rogers and all that. So again, this does still happen back in during World War II before Captain America goes into ice. I know that it's very confusing the way that the timeline jumps. But here are the Easter eggs because this will come into play much later on in the MCU timeline. Okay, we are covering Captain America Winter Soldier, and this has tons of Easter eggs. So we first meet Sam Wilson, who ends up being Falcon, and in this we see that he is running in Washington, D.C., and Captain America always say, on your left. Now this will come into play during the show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so just be aware. That is something that fans have noticed is it does happen, like every single time. Then we have this little note from Captain America in his book, and I want to make this clear that this is probably something that Captain America wants to do as he's missed out on so much. But I want you guys to specifically take note because this made my day. This made me like, hell yeah, I'm on the right track that all of Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, and Pixar are connected. The reason being, if you note, he writes Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs and I think it was Cat Moles, created Pixar originally. They were the original creators. That is important to know. Then, a little bit further down, you know, he wanted to watch Star Wars, and he actually watched them all at least to the point, supposedly, in the video. So, important to know, abso-freaking-lutely. Hey, I was onto something. So that is why y'all should buy my book series. The first two are currently out and you guys can get it. And the third one will be out sometime around this summer. I'm aiming for July actually. There is so much to cover, but I promise you I'm going to keep up with the Easter eggs. So keep on watching. Now, we do know that at this point, Captain America and Black Widow know each other. They also know Nick Fury, of course. So that is important to know. They are also showing these ships. Those ships do come into play later on. And Stark actually helped create a better force so that they could be able to fly. So, of course, there's Easter eggs within that as well. Now, during this time, the Smithsonian, which is located in DC, had a whole Captain America exhibit, and as you can see, they were really honoring him in the original form back in World War II. Now, according to this time, Bucky Barnes, aka who becomes the Winter Soldier, we'll see that later on, was considered, he supposedly died in action, right? He went missing during the train scene in Captain America, the first Avenger. But we'll see later on, obviously, he wasn't dead. There was a lot that happened to that. But Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, really, he wanted to honor his friend. He missed him. That was his best friend throughout his childhood. And he felt like he wronged Bucky because it was because of him that Bucky was sucked out of this train during this mission. It wasn't really Captain America's fault, but that's, he's putting the blame on himself. So he is undercover, just, looking at the stuff and honoring his friend. We also see segments of Agent Peggy Carter, which links to the show Agent Carter, and then we see her as an old lady because 70 years had passed since Captain America went down in ice in the original, so she is an old lady. She's still alive, but she's old and she's having like dementia or something of that sort. And she gets glimpses and pieces of it, and it's important to note that this does come later in the Avengers Endgame. I'm not going to give too much away if you haven't seen them all in order, but just be aware that that does come up. Then during this scene, this really focuses on Nick Fury. Nick Fury is trying to get into something that he had been part of creating, and now he is officially locked out. This is an issue because supposedly he was the one that locked himself out, but of course he didn't. And this becomes a major role throughout the films, which we will talk about in the Hydra theory. But yes, it was Hydra. Hydra had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. Anyway, Nick Fury goes on to try to seek help, and he is attacked by aka quote unquote police. Of course, these are not really the police, they are Hydra agents, and that is important to note because they have infiltrated everything. This is also the first glimpse we get of the Winter Soldier. So this was a really bad picture, I apologize, but the Winter Soldier is out to kill Nick Fury. We don't exactly know why, other than he is known as a hitman, and we understand that from Black Widow later on in the film. But he was known throughout the world as like this ghost, right? They didn't really think he existed. But here is the proof that he is a ghost assassin. He is bad. He is scary. He's very scary in this. So first I want to apologize. My camera must have been shaky when I was grabbing these photos, so apologies. But here we see Sharon Carter. She is playing the neighborly, she's pretending to be an RN, but she was really a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent watching out for Captain America. And we see that that Nick Fury came to Captain America because something was wrong. And that he is to tell no one. Now, at the same time, Black Widow, so Nick Fury was supposedly killed, to say supposedly, but he gave Captain America the access, not the access, but the USB that we'll see later on, because that is important to note. Everything that we had covered previously, and Nick Fury told him not to trust anyone because he specifically had implanted devices in Captain America's apartment. At this point, Sharon Carter is well aware of something is wrong. She doesn't exactly know what. She knows that Nick is supposedly dead. And now these Hydra guys are in and they're trying to gain access. We also see that Black Widow and Captain America are on the case and they are trying to figure out what is going on with this USB. So they are searching, and of course they have Hydra after them. But they find this bunker at the original fort that Captain America trained at, actually. Supposedly, this is the same fort that Stan Lee trained at and was, so yeah, just a little not well known, but a little history for you guys, a little Easter egg. Stan Lee actually became a soldier and was stationed in New Jersey. So just letting you know. That is actually based on his own personal experience. Anyway, Black Widow and Captain America find this bunker underneath, and in the bunker, it was the original where they did experimentations, and of course they see a picture of both Peggy Carter and Howard Stark. Howard Stark being the man who was there during Captain America's transformation, but also being, yes, Tony Stark's father. So they come across this large computer system, they put the USB in, and then they find this guy who was in the first Captain America film. He is a Hydra agent. They had infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D. He is letting them know that there are Hydra agents all over, that they will never get to them all, and it started during World War II, and they were continuing to move on, but they have an assassin after them. He also notes that he killed Howard and Maria Stark, and that is when, we will see more of that in the Civil War, but he was also the reason that Nick Fury was dead and that they were going to be next. A whole fight ensues, and they end up at Sam Wilson, knowing that they can trust him. Now, Sam Wilson is a veteran soldier, but they thought he was just a paratrooper. Turns out he actually had access to this Falcon suit, aka he becomes the Falcon. And so that is how that comes to be. You can see the folder, it mentions Falcon. And they gain access to him and to his suit, and they go after some Hydra agents. They know that there are powerful people at play, and they need to find out what is going on. Now, during this, the Winter Soldier comes to try to kill them, and Captain America learns that it was his friend Bucky Barnes. Now, Bucky Barnes was filled with the vibranium super soldier serum. Now, this comes into play. You can see my theory on this, but they put him in ice and they used the serum, and that is how he became the assassin. They continue to put him in ice in small increments, or longer increments, but not as long as Captain America, so that he can do the work, that he can come out and assassinate people as need be. Now, Captain America finds out that Nick Fury is not dead, that he pretended to die because that was what was safe for him and his family, and that they had to dismantle S.H.I.E.L.D. and save everyone. So the four of them, so it was, I always forget her name, Nick Fury, his second in command, Black Widow, actually it was five of them, Captain America, and then the Falcon end up going to fight for the good of all people and try to take down everyone. And Sharon Carter does end up helping a little bit. We don't fully trust her, but she does end up helping a bit. Of course, during this, Captain America needs his original suit back, so he goes to the Smithsonian, grabs it, and of course we have this beautiful cameo from Stan Lee. Also see during this scene that Black Widow has this technology from S.H.I.E.L.D. that she can change her appearance. This is important to note because it does come up later on. We also note that there is links to Stark Industry, and that I forget her name, but the second command ends up interviewing at Stark Industries for a role. We also see that Black Widow is she has to testify to Congress, and she's like, hell nah, I just saved the world, shut up, leave me alone, like everything that you saw was real, yada yada yada. She's had it. Then we have this end scene where the world still thinks that Nicholas Fury is gone, but there is a folder, and Nick Fury is obviously not gone, but he is in hiding, and that is important to note. Then we go into the post-credit scene where we learn that there are two new players at ACT, and these bad guys, still Hydra, have the Tesseract and the staff, and these two players are going to be featured, or later known as Pietro and Wanda, so the Maximoffs. And this does begin to play into the X-Men, but you're going to have to check out my theories for that because I cannot explain that all in this video. Well, that was fun and interesting, wasn't it? I hope you guys enjoyed this this video of the Easter eggs. What are your thoughts? I actually really enjoy not only this film, but Bucky Barnes' character, the Winter Soldier. I think he has a great character arc. A little bit between between Captain America, the first Avenger, this film, and then in his show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But of course, that hadn't come out when this came out, so we just know him as kind of a villainish character at this point. But he does have a nice character arc, I will say that. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you very soon. Well, Tuesday for a new theory video.